Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today I'm going to set up, play and review the game Phantom Ink by Ryerson. This is a word game of unfinished business. So this is illustrated by Spring U, and this is a game for 4 to 10 players. However, I have played as a 2. I've tried playing as a 2 and as a 3, and both are successful. But I do kind of recommend it is probably best as a 4, but I'll show you how it works anyway. So this is a game whereby we're going to have spirits, we're going to have mediums. It's a team game. It's very much like Codenames and Crosstalk. Check out my videos for that too. I recommend sleeving them. Check my sleeving playlist as well. And also check out my setup, play and review playlist, my AmassGames playlist. And if you're watching this as a short, please make sure you head through to watch the full video as well. So this is a particular game whereby you are trying to guess one word that everybody else is trying to guess as too. So in this case, you're going to say, okay, flip this card over. Let's choose a number before we look at the card. Let's say 1, and we're trying to get mountain as an example. Or in this case, we actually played with this game before. We played milk. So what we're going to do is the spirits are going to see this card, see milk, and they're going to see it, and not saying anything out loud. And then people are going to take in turns having some guessing cards. So these guessing cards are going to look like this, tourist kind of cards. So what tourist destination would you most likely find it at? Again, for a milk wine, interesting, well, it could be Cadbury's Dairy Milk. What accident or injury would it cause? Well, you could be thinking about, I don't know, slipping over. Who or what makes it? Well, a cow. So that's a good example. So as this card game is actually specifically played, your mediums, so you're either going to be playing on the sun team or the moon team. Now, I don't know if this is intentional, but it does look a bit like a Ouija board because this kind of splits in two. I think it's just to fit it in. So basically, you're going to have something like this. You're going to have a sun team and a moon team, but you can rip these off. I've even laminated them, which I recommend doing. So what you can do is you're going to be filling in this information. And in this instance, we had someone typing in the word super, and now we don't know what this meant. And what you're going to be doing is, if you happen to be on the, so let's say the sun team, and in this case, it is the sun team that always starts. What you're going to be doing is saying, okay, I've given you 2 cards. So the medium is going to give 2 cards to the spirit, and one of those is going to be returned face up, so everyone's going to see this card which is not played with, so what is it not made from, and everyone else is going to see, in terms of the medium team, they're going to have this card face down. In this case, what variety does it come in? So what card was placed face down in this instance? The question was, where would you buy it? So they wrote S, so the spirit writes S, and they say S out loud, U, then they say P, then they say E. In this case, you say silencio. So the medium say silencio, because at this point they've probably worked out it means supermarket. You do not want to give more than that, because it might mean that the opposing team, the moon team, can figure out what that means. And then you move on to the moon team. So the moon team, in this case, happened to have this one, because we played on separate sheets. And they said, well, what does it feel like once you've had it? And they're like, Q, U, E, and at this point they wrote quench, and again they were looking to go with quenching, so they said silencio at this point. But as it turned out, it was a little bit before that. I'll come on to why in a second. And now again they have 2 more cards that they can be given, so you have 2 more of these question cards, and again we're moving back onto the sun team to decide who they're going to go with next. In this case, they're saying, okay, well, what does it feel like once you've had it? Something like that. So it's a similar kind of question. R, E, and at this point they stopped here. Again, there's not many more words that could be other than refreshing, but in this case, wrote refresh. And suddenly, the other team thinking, okay, well, let's give this question. The other team's mediums are saying, okay, so this particular question related to, I think, how often can you get it, or something like supplies, or something like that. So it's like this, sup. And again, we're back over to the team and saying, what does it taste like? And this is quite tricky, but they went with, creamy. You can't use milkshake because you can't have it partially in the word. And then finally, in this case, you saw an I. So what this means is the moon team gets the first time they can actually say, well, I want an extra letter added on to one of our words or one of the opposing team's words. In this case, I think they went with the quenching one just to understand what that meant, because there's not many words which begin que like this. And then it's back onto the sun's team, and this time it can be the spirits who actually are going to be basically saying whether or not they think the answer is correct. So the medium is going to say for the sun team, right, I think it's going to be an M, so they write M, and then if that is correct, then the spirit is going to knock, and then they're going to say, okay, now let's do the next letter, I, and they can then be knocking in this case, L, and then K, and then you do a full stop because that's the exact word. Now what can happen is you might make a mistake, but you might start off well. Again, N might have been wrong, it might be W for water for some reason. It could be coffee, possibly. And then obviously with a W, you get it wrong, which of course straight away gives the opposing team a chance. So on your turn, one thing, sorry, I forgot to mention, is the fact that you're either going to be, as the mediums, handing in 2 cards and getting one back face down, or you can go off straight away like I'm doing here, is to guess the word. So that is the premise of the game. Lots of score pads, lots of choices of cards. Very, very bizarrely, on 3 games in a row, we happened to randomise what cards we're playing with, and in 3 games it came up with wheelchair, because we all happened to then pick option 4, and they're playing with different groups, and bizarrely we always come up with wheelchair. And if you want to see how wheelchair looked, you can see what happened here. How do you hold it? With a handle. But when you see dissert, it does look like disabled, and they think, oh, it's disabled hand or something, and then how often you use it? Daily. Okay, and this happened to be the same kind of word, so I deliberately, in this case, I want to try write a word like this. What does it sound like? Wee! When you use it. In this case, you have a seat, and again, we happen to place multiple times, so we happen to say in this case, who would use it? Someone with an injury, and again, wheelchair was the right answer. So coming back over here, what this represented was how long does it last for? And it can last for weeks with milk. Now, some people could have said daily, but they went with that. So that's the game. Very highly rate this one. This is above average for me. It does come with some pencils, but I've been using pens so far. I would give this a 7.5, 7.7, 7.8 out of 10. Highly recommend it. Again, if you're playing it as a 3, obviously you're playing with 1 spirit and 2 mediums. Playing it as a 2, it works, and you're just trying to work together, a bit like in a game of Codenames, just trying to get your best score. How soon can you get it? I do recommend sleeving it. It luckily does just about fit in, considering the amount of cards you get. You can get more, and there's some extra stuff you can get in the pack too. Check out my Instagram stuff. There's pictures over there. Check it out. Facebook for the discussion. Listen to the podcast. It's over there too. You can support the channel via Patreon. Also head through to Linktree, where the cage competitions are time sensitive to disappear. And yes, any other questions, let me know in the comments best on YouTube, because this does get shared elsewhere. So please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That has been Phantom Ink. I got this early this year, and I wanted to play it for Halloween. Unfortunately, the group I did play it with, they couldn't make it that time of that issue due to illness, so they came a week or so later. But there we go, that has been Phantom Ink. Highly recommend it. Check out my cooperative playlist as well, and even you could say mystery games as well playlist. For now, back to the table.